Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how does he know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Dan. Danny Guru.
How you doing, Jen?
I am fantastic. Happy Sunday to you.
Yeah, happy Sunday to you too. I'm pretty good.
Good, wonderful. Well, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I think we may have done one before,
We've done
but
versions of this, but I think we'll do some more. This is really what this is all. Everything we've done is leading up to moments, hopefully like this.
absolutely, I think it's important. But today we have a special guest with us, Miss Gracious Prana. I'm going to pop her on here in just a moment. And we're going to be having a little chat with her about her human design session with Dan and what has encountered since she has had it. So
Yeah.
before we do that, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. And definitely share this information out if you find it someone that would benefit from it. And yeah.
High calls. Please, people, share this out. You know, we need the exposure, and this information needs the exposure. The knowledge needs to spread.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and pop on Miss Gracious Prana. Hi.
Hi.
Gracious, it's great to see you, hon.
It's great seeing you as well.
Yep.
It's nice meeting you, Jennifer.
Yes, it's very nice to meet you as well. I can't wait to hear your feedback. I heard a little bit behind the scenes, but I know you've got more.
No, there's always more. There's always more. Gracious and I, we did our first reading, and I think we've actually been in touch a time or two after that. About 2 weeks ago now. It's been about 2 weeks, right, Gracious?
Yes.
And I forgot how it all came about. How did you get referred in?
I actually found you on your Instagram page. I reached out to you a minute ago, and then I couldn't find my information, and then it just circled back around, and it just been flowing ever since.
Right, and I remember I saw that coming through, and I think we got on the phone that night, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We was on the phone fast.
Yep. It was good, and then we went long. I remember we went a good solid 2 hours, and
Yes.
so from all that came, I just remember this amazing sense of suddenly another person, Miss Gracious in this case, just literally received information that started to validate certain things that were just sort of unheard of in a way, and then from there we just got through to strategy and authority and why this vessel of love is such a special incarnation cross, and why, well, they're all special, and what is it like to be a generator not knowing, and all the not knowing and the uncertainty, and we just went on from there. Gracious, do you remember any highlights from our discussion? I would have sent you the recording.
Yes, it was so many highlights. The vessel of love was one, because I'm a lover and I never knew why. The hermit stood out. Me being a hermit, I go in and then I pop back.
Right.
So that was it was so many. Me being a generator for one was eye opener, because I never knew that. I never knew why I had so much energy, and then I was like, oh, okay, my energy is gone. I'm sitting down. So it was so many highlights for me. It was confirmation for me, as in, okay, this is really my blueprint of my design. It's really me.
So both of you have the same incarnation cross, same profile type, and you're generators.
We're both generators, and we're both open ego, not emotional.
Oh, okay. So y'all, yeah,
Lots of
you that
similarities.
I can see. I mean, normally your sessions go about 2 hours. But I can see why it did, because you, having been in your experience, Dan, experiment, you know a lot, and you can also speak from personal experience.
It was such a pleasure, Jen. When I looked up her chart, I was before the chart was even fully materialized in my eyes, I'm already texting Gracious. I'm like, sister, I know you, honey. Let's do this right now. And she managed to hold down a house of kids and keep it quiet. What you got going on over there for discipline? Because your kids, man, they're behaved or something.
Thank you.
Yes. I mean, it was, I couldn't even tell you had kids, which is rare. When there's kids in the background, they make themselves known, Jen. It's
Absolutely, they do.
It's a thing. But and then we got this beautiful opportunity to talk through, what's one of the most important things to us, right? Who do we love? Who did we love? Where was all of that? What's next for us? And I just remember going through Gracious. I forgot if we ever did get any charts on any of, whoever might have been in your past, any important partners or anything in your past. But I think we looked at something, and we just realized how much we try to fill in the open spaces in our body graph. Boy, do we seek that. It's a thing.
The aha moment for me was the open head space, and I'm a thinker, so I was like, okay, now I know why I'm thinking so much, and I don't have to think so much all the time. That was the aha moment for me. Is the whole session was aha for me. Everything was aha for me. Even me having an open ego. I never knew why. Okay, so I would have a drive, but not as driven as other people. And I was like, is something wrong with me?
Oh.
But it wasn't. It was my design. It was, and you highlight so well that everyone is unique in their design. So I was like, okay, I'm perfect just as how I am. So I really never let it bother me, but it was just confirmation after confirmation after confirmation within the call. Yeah, it was a lot to process, because it was like so much knowledge coming in. And it was needed.
That's why I love human design. I was having this conversation with my sister and her friend last night, and how everyone's unique in their own way. And human design really helps you, one, answer those questions of the internal conversations you're having with yourself on why do I do that? Or, we live in a society, and the program is that comparing to other people, if that person's doing it, why am I? I would run out of energy. So for a good portion of my life, I survived on energy drinks, and that's not healthy. But now that I know that I'm a manifester, when I am high energy and I have a creative flow, I honor that. And when I don't, I honor that too. And because I have an open root, I'm not going to allow the pressure to beat me up of not doing like I should be doing, because the rest of the world is doing it. So that's beautiful.
Yes, I can imagine. So Gracious, you and I are generators. Like Jen said, she's a manifester. That means open sacral. So that very thing that keeps us buzzing all day, that dumb motor that just says yes and no, we better listen to it. And the other three types that have it open, it's very important that they guard their energy the whatever unique way they find out is correct for them. And it's wicked important that we guard it with them. You know what I mean? It's wicked important, because we need the direction. It's just one of them things. I love it.
Can I say something real quick on that?
Yeah.
When I had my awakening, I realized that the most important thing that we do have in this life is our energy and our time, and where we're placing it. And I love how you just pointed out of guarding your energy, because your energy is your currency. It is the currency that you should be worrying about, not what's in your bank account. So thank you for saying that, because I think it's important that a lot of people have that realization that when they do start honoring their energy, regardless of the type that they are, that you can really start to become more productive and it'll apply to like a lot of the personal development and the spiritual development or the business development that you're doing, you know, honoring your time and your energy. So
it's so important. It really is. And Gracious, we should probably get around to doing a second session at some point in time. You know, move on to that, and maybe even move on to your kids. So let's look up your kids next. I just remember feeling so much love, and I remember we didn't quite run out of energy. We ended good without, because sometimes Jen already knows. You know, at the other end of the line, I can hear it. It's like, okay, well, hold on a second, and I can feel the energy running down. So we have to end the call. That didn't happen here.
I had so much energy afterwards. I ran and I was like, who can I tell? Who can I let know about this human design? And I started telling the call was late, but I didn't care. I was like, you got to get in on this. You have to learn your design. I started telling everybody. The first person was my mom. I said, Mom, you need to book you a session. You need to get on this, because I feel like it's so important that people understand that what drives them, what's them and what's not them, what's programmed and what's new, what's evolving. So yes, it was beautiful.
Understand. I love how you talk, girl. You're talking my language.
Yep. I heard that one too, Jen.
Well, it is the understanding. It's not understanding. It's the understanding. Your inner world is a reflection of your outer world. Once you really understand what's going on inside, I mean, it will start to reflect on the outside. And we've never been taught that. And no one uses that terminology. That is why I created the university instead of the university. So
Jennifer's got Rise University, and it's been growing, and HDA, for all I know, might end up coming in under the banner of Rise, because Jennifer just seems to coordinate everything so dang well. And Jennifer, you make everything work, huh?
Oh, thank you. I guess that's part of my incarnation cross.
Something like that. And I hear Southern accents, and it's all starting to come out of me right now. That's funny. Do you feel like
it's because we're conditioning you
right at this moment? Yeah. Well, Gracious, I was born in Macon, Georgia. I spent the first almost 2 years of my life in Macon, Georgia. So the early linguistics I heard was all Southern. You know, and while I wasn't speaking yet per se, it carried with me. I go down south, and I suddenly grow a Southern drawl pretty quick. It just comes out. It's the weirdest thing.
It's contagious.
Yep, I think it's adorable. I even figured out how to slow down a little bit whenever I go into the South, and that wasn't easy either. Open route, Jennifer, Yankee, open route. You know, slow down. Oh, that was not easy the first time. I remember complaining with no good reason. That's funny. Do you feel like pulling up the chart real quick?
I did not. Let me see if I got
it. If you can. If not, it's all good. I'm not sure, Gracious, when I sent you your chart, if I sent you the there's another view of the chart that has a little bit of extra information in it sometimes that I can read off. And I think I sent you the simple view, but I'm not sure if I sent you the one that's from our website.
Yes, I have both.
Oh, okay.
Did you send it, Dan?
Yeah, I attached it to the email that was to a joint email between us.
Oh, it's right in front of me. Hold on.
Yeah. And it's all good. So yeah, there's a little extra information on there, and I just thought it'd be nice to sort of have three of us take a peek at your chart, because you had mentioned Open Head Center. I think that's worth mentioning out loud. There's Miss Gracious.
Open Head and Define Ajna.
Yep. She's a knower. Girl knows. And it's all this, and so her generative energy is 14 to is the 14 to 2, right in the middle from the sacral up to the G center. That's her generative energy. And her mental energy is again individual. It's all individual circuitry. So gracious prana has to be in the mood, in the pulse. The thing has to come. She can't force it. But this open head center on top, the white triangle pointing up. Oh, yeah, that up there, that white triangle, open head center, takes the being away from their nature easily by allowing too much inspiration to pour through. The inspiration really is trying to ask a question, and it forces the being, if they're not aware of it, to start unconsciously and as who they are not, start thinking about things that don't matter and trying to answer all the questions you don't have an answer for. And we all try to answer the questions we don't have answers for, right? I mean, that's what we do. But Jen, you and I have a defined head center. So when we don't know the answer to the question, our head keeps working on it. We've dealt with this mental pressure our whole lives. It's not a big deal for us.
Especially with our gate 60 or gate 64.
The 64, it's the most powerful freaking
constantly reviewing the past to make sense of the future.
Yes.
And in the moment.
Yes, it's a giant cluster up there. And when it's open, and look, Graces, you have these two gates coming off of your head center. So these two gates, 61 and 63, they become themes of this pressure, the theme of doubt, the theme of not knowing. Yet the channel right below, which is unconscious, 4323, is the channel of the knower. This person who creates structure in a pulse from zero to everything in a moment. That's how this channel works. And it knows. It speaks in a voice that says, I know. Yet there's an open head center with a gate 61 that's about not knowing. So suddenly y'all get stuck. That rung a bell, right, Graces?
Yes.
So yes, and it's just a really good spot. We could really just only do this open head center for a little bit and call it a day, because ultimately Gracious started to realize she doesn't need to answer everyone else's questions. As I recall, we had talked about, I think, a previous relationship, did we, a little bit or something, where you didn't know what to do and you ended up always trying to think of what was needed, and you concerned yourself with the things you didn't know. I forget the whole dealio with that, but it was just, it's a thing that you can count on over and over again. Open head center, until you're awake and aware that there's this nature inside of you, you are swept away with thinking about things that don't matter to your right now. Swept away, filled up with it, and you think it matters.
Right.
I was telling my sister that because she has a open head and open ajna, and as soon as I said that, she started busting out laughing because she was like, "Oh my God, I do!" And so now she's bringing it to her attention. She keeps telling herself, "It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just go on," because
Right.
it's a constant that happens.
So what is it? So someone, a layperson, could ask, well, then how do we know what matters? And we've all sort of been at this long enough. How do we know what matters? Well, for Gracious, for you, you know what matters because instinctually, with that spleen, you'll feel driven towards it. And responsively, as a generator, you'll have a response. You'll know as a gut reaction in the moment. It's like, oh, that matters. Okay. The other 2,152.8 things didn't matter. So that's what this is here for. So Gracious found, I guess, have you noticed, Gracious, this responsiveness now where
Yes, when we did the aha moment was when we did the call and you was like, okay, well, let's play a game. And we played the game of the yes and no.
Yep.
And everything that it was just sudden, like yes, no. And once I started integrating that in my everyday life of just letting it flow, how it flows,
Yep.
I wasn't really in my headspace because when it wasn't flowing, I was like, oh, it don't matter. These questions don't matter in the moment. I could move on from it because it wasn't flowing right. It wasn't it was really making me stuck. And I was like, oh no, this is not me. This isn't
Right.
this is not my this is my openness.
Right.
That's
This is
more
our
yeah.
so our openness becomes where we're so wise. So sooner or later, this what ends up happening for you, Gracious, is that this open head center has collected and allowed with ease so many things to flow through that in the correct responsive moment, where a defined head center is stuck on the one thing that they're working on, your openness can bring to everyone's attention. Now you can mention the 2,000 things that didn't matter, or at least 2 or 3 of them, because they had flown through. You become the openness to what really matters. But we can't get that wisdom out of you until you're responding. So as a response, suddenly Gracious can help us, steer us, with her love of all things as to what really matters. It's just a thing. And we're supposed to work in symbiotic relationship with each other with our openness to really see, what's the scoop with all of that. We're supposed to merge inside of our openness with our definition as ourselves and fill each other in. It's okay to do that. We're supposed to fill each other in. I mean, it's a common thing. What we're not supposed to do is give ourselves away in order to procure that which fills us in. That's where we go wrong. I need that. No, you don't. It just feels good. Two different things. They can come together. I do like to need that. Sometimes I like to say, oh my God, I need that and I like it and it feels good. So just, you'll know, it'll be a response. It'll be a genuine instinctual knowing. So Gracious, since we last spoke, I see you have this channel 5432 that goes from the root to the spleen, and it's conscious in you. It's all black there. So you're aware of this drive to want to struggle for a purpose and be driven towards this animated way of yours that wants to, find your way and find your tribe. So have you noticed any of this drivenness showing up in your life?
Yes. That was also a highlight as well as my my center for the family, like my tribal, that's what it's called.
Yep.
Tribal.
It's all very tribal here, very tribal.
And I always wonder why I have this saying, one sound, one band, we all moving together. So I always wonder why I always wanted to empower them with the knowledge that I was retaining and getting. And now it's like, okay, I see now. I see all.
That's so lovely. Well, a nice gate 40 will come along in your life, and suddenly you'll have the right affection and it'll feel just right. So that, I thought that's cute. She's got a gate 37, Jen, off of the solar plex center. So Gracious.
I have 40.
Yep. Jen's got 40. And yeah, that's right. You do have some of these gates, Gracious. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hang on a second. 6. You got 6 of them. It's the love gates that from the show we did when we did the love. Yeah. Did some of that resonate with you?
Yes. The 10th resonated with me the most because sometimes I get to the point where I'm like, why don't I feel love? And then I start to, I realized that I was like, okay, well, I'm a vessel of love. I got all these love markers. Then it must be something internal. So I had to flip inside out and realize, okay, if I'm projecting love, then only love can come to me. So if I'm not feeling it, then it's something internally. So then I started to realize that, okay, let me paint my nails. Let me go do something. Let me shower myself in love, because it's that 10th is so strong and it's about the self. And you highlighted it so well in the in our recording as well, when we was on the phone, as well as in the love one as well. It was beautiful.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we do things. It's what you can't, when you're a vessel, what you can't get away from, no matter how hard you try, unless you're truly, some people, I suppose, could be so depressive they just don't realize it. But if you're a vessel, what you generally can't get away from is that you love you. I love me. You know what I mean? And to some people, if we went through that, then you would have recalled to some people, sometimes that vessel can seem a little cool. Because it's so universal, it's not always necessarily in that moment directly for the person that's right in front of you. But it's there. It's for them. It's for everyone. It's there, and it heats back up. It just goes through it's like a little cycle. So yeah, lead with that. You just get out there. Plus, don't forget, as a second line, you have shyness before boldness as a mating strategy. All second lines, when it comes to mating strategies, there's first their shyness, and then finally, when somebody figures out how to scratch across that barrier that you sort of got that shyness, and they figure out how to open you all up a little bit, they'll say the right thing, they'll have the right tone of voice, something will happen, and they're friendly enough. Next thing you know, they broke through your barrier. Now shyness turns to boldness. And so you just go ahead and be shy. You know what? You go be shy with your painted nails, and you wait, and you be dang selective. You'll have a responder that's like better than an auntie, an uncle, and your daddy with a shotgun. It'll be oh, maybe, 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 maybe. You let that flow, and the right spirit for you will not only withstand that, they'll appreciate it. The right spirit for you will be like, that girl ain't too fickle for me. She's just right. I'm going to keep at it. And all the rest were not worth it. They're not bad. They just weren't worth it for you.
I receive that, because that is so me. I'm very shy, but I'm very bold once that layer has been drawn down.
Yeah. Yep. It's a natural, dude, this is genetic. It's believe it or not, the forces that decided we want humans to propagate the planet decided that 1/6 of the planet is going to have that as a primary bonding strategy. So apparently the forces wanted bonding to be wildly all over the place, third line, need security, first line, all the other ones, seductive. They wanted bonding to be seductive. That's fifth line. And they wanted bonding to be what we just described here, reserved and a little bit hard to get. So someone has to claw at it a little bit to get there. And so the forces said, we want all this type of bonding, make more now, but bond this way. Sweet. So how many kids you got, Gracious? I forgot.
I have 2. I have a boy and a girl.
Oh, let's look at their charts real soon. Could we?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because that would be perfect. I mean, human design is the owner's manual to the child that every parent is looking for. I always say that. You can spend a fortune on all those books out there, but nothing will tell you like your child like human design will.
It's their owner's manual, man. It's their blueprint. You can count on that being them the whole time with lots of real specific instructions, super specific. No guesswork. It's not a lot of guesswork. And for moms and dads, your parental intuition and your love of your child will guide you won't need to become a pro of human design, period. Your intuition will take over with just the keynotes from a reading regarding your children, asking and answering some questions, getting a little bit of guidance along the way. It's always going to be along the way. And then you're off and running. You'll have super children, period. Everyone who gets their children read and sort of follows that stuff, they raise up super kids, adjusted, capable. And they are themselves. So others can't enslave them in love, in a partnership, in fear of loss, in a job, in nothing.
Yes.
Nothing. And that's what we want. We want our kids to not be enslaved like we are. I mean, I don't know, but.
Well, that's how we're going to make the change on the planet. It's through the ancestral healing that we're doing, but it is our duty to stop what we are doing and not pass that down to our children, because we are carrying what our parents and what their parents and their parents and their parents,
And plenty of that's been passed in just genetically outside of our knowledge anyways. So we already did part of the deed, Jen, just by having a kid, right?
Yes.
Yep. So it's our job to sort of try and undo some of that.
Which is not an easy process.
I wish I had this knowledge when my kids were super young.
I do too. I wish I did, but
I didn't get it until my kids were well into their teens. And how much does the child want to hear from the parent when they're a teenager? like 0, basically.
Oh.
So it was too late. I tried, but it was, but anyways, it's, Miss Gracious, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask out of your chart before we go back full screen? Just anything at all that you wondered or.
No. The more I listen to the audio, the more everything is crystal clear.
How many times you been through the audio?
Probably around 4 times. It's my go-to for everything. Anytime I get stuck or it's not flowing, let's go to this audio. Let's look at my human design chart because it's so accurate. It's the blueprint.
Sister, that's amazing. This has helped you each time?
Yes, very much. The other day, well, I just told the story about the love. So yes, I incorporate it a lot in my everyday life. Because it's so accurate. It's so I do a lot of other things as well, but this is the in-depth part of it for me. It's the pinpoint, I see you energy. I know what's going on here in this gate, in this channel. Okay, let me process this. Let me figure what's not me and what's not me and what is me so I could follow through with my purpose.
Well, you know what? You're really well suited to do that. At the top of this chart, you see where the numbers are right next to those arrows?
Yes.
That 5, it's a big number. So the 5 says it's a motivation. It's called guilt, but it's not about being guilty. It's about the feeling of needing to do something. But underneath that line, that number 4 is about has everything to do with a certain way we process our cognition. It's called meditation. It's called inner vision. It's specifically about not taking any action. It's about looking within. That inner vision becomes a meditative sense that suddenly the person needs to go inward, and next thing you know, they start to get clarity after they allow hours of inwardness. And listening, by the way, the acoustics of listening, not watching, but listening, is a wicked good way to go inward. When you're watching, you're back in both. You're in the both outer and inner world. But when you're just listening, you can still daydream easily.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah, well, you're the daydreamer. All second lines are daydreamers mostly. Anyhow, yeah, there's lots of good information in these lines. There's lots of good stuff. I don't know what else. Jen, can you think of anything else? Or Gracious?
Well, what you said about the daydreamer, daydreaming is a form of meditation.
It is.
It definitely is. So when we had to talk about the different defined head centers and the undefined when it comes to meditation, if you are daydreaming, Dan, you are actually meditating or what is called scurrying.
What is that word you said?
Scurrying. It's
really?
A form. Yes. It's the same thing as, when someone looks into a crystal ball or uses water, it's a form of divination. But I used to be really big into daydreaming when I was younger. So when I started to embrace my shamanic path, that is one of my forms of divination that I use is that. So
well, I'm daydreaming all the time, Jen.
I know you are. And night dreaming.
Yes, just all the time. It's good. So, well,
wonderful.
This was wonderful. Maybe go back full screen or. Gracious, I can't thank you enough for sharing your heart and your openness with us. This is what we're supposed to be doing. I'm sure of it.
It's my pleasure. It was so wonderful meeting both of you all, especially you, Danny, because you opened my world more with the headspace.
Thank you so much, Gracious. That's what we do it for. It empowers us. One day we'll get rid of cash green money and we'll have our love as our currency, the primary currency. One day.
That would be beautiful.
That'd be beautiful. So.
Thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I love, the terminology you use, and it makes sense why, you said understanding, so that's probably something you've been studying your internal world for a very long time. And I'm a avid believer that anything that you want to know, it comes from within. I mean, if we're reading something on the outside, guess where it came from at one point in time?
Right.
So
Right.
from the inside of someone else. So that's beautiful. And thank you for sharing your chart with us and
Absolutely.
your time and your energy. It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yep. So I guess we're done here. Gracious, we'll just get me your kids. Look up your kids and
I
email them
definitely
pretty
will.
please. And let's get these little guys being our next presidents and so forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
You're in New York, right, Gracious?
No, I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, Southern girl.
Southern girl. All right. Well, we got to get down there.
Absolutely, we do.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody who tuned in. We did have one comment. It was from Shakti, and I just want to say thank you. She said hello, Jen and Dan, and hi everyone here. So thank you for everyone who did pop on. If you haven't already gotten your session, make sure you do that. Book your family, your kids. Dan is also doing couples readings as well. So you got to hear someone's honest feedback on what their experience was today, and look forward, we can share some more. And if you've had a session with Dan and you want to come on and share your experience, just reach out and we'll get that arranged.
Awesome. Jennifer, just thank you so much. I love you dearly. Let's do this.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful Sunday, and do we know who we're doing on Wednesday out of curiosity?
Shoot. Someone had mentioned it and it was I forgot.
It's okay. We'll get it posted.
Yeah.
So
it was somebody that did something. Oh, Joe Dispenza.
okay.
Do you know Joe Dispenza?
I do know Joe Dispenza, but I have no idea what's happening in the current state of affairs.
It's a possibility we'll do Joe Dispenza. Possibly.
Okay. That would be an interesting design to go over.
He's quite, he's quite all over the place as it relates to recognizing that we're all connected and the space-time continuum is basically just one thing.
He would be a good one to do. Graham Hancock would be a good one to do, and Greg Braden.
Oh, I want to do Greg Braden too. Maybe we could do all three of them and be like, what are all these thinkers got in common?
That would be a good point. Maybe we'll do that. Well, you guys stay tuned and we'll get that posted, and we will see you on Wednesday.
Bye.
Y'all have a wonderful day.